By Friday afternoon, someone had opened Lena Ortiz from behind her left ear to the bottom of her spine and stitched it shut with black thread. She was still walking. That was the worst part. She still had Lena's face, Lena's voice, Lena's wedding ring, but a plastic friendship bracelet that has been stretched around her swollen wrist. White beads, pink letters. Clara. Clara Wynn was 9 years old. She had entered the nurse's office 20 minutes before the screaming started. Nobody had seen her since. When Alicia Grant asked Lena what had happened, the nurse touched her wet stitches beneath her collar and smiled. Not Lena's smile, Clara's. He had to open her a few times, she said. Then she leaned closer. I kept slipping. 4 days earlier, 3 adults arrived in Bellwether for jobs. Only one of them would remain themselves long enough to understand why. Alicia met the other 2 in the school parking lot Monday morning. Lena Ortiz stood beside a blue hatchback, wrestling a cardboard box marked medical supplies from the back seat. Marcus Webb was sitting on the hood of his truck with a travel mug between his knees. He was broad through the shoulders, somewhere in his early 40s, dressed in work boots and dark coveralls. You knew too, he asked. Alicia held up her temporary staff badge. The photograph had been stretched sideways, making her face look swollen. Unless they always make teachers wear hostage photos. Marcus laughed. Lena nearly dropped her box. Neither of them moved to help too quickly. She caught it against her hip. Excellent, Lena said. A teacher and a custodian, both useless in an emergency. School nurse, Alicia asked. Starting today. 3 vacancies at once. Marcus looked toward the building. The principal told me the old custodian left without even collecting his tools. Alicia followed his eyes. Bellwether Elementary was a low brick building surrounded by woods. No neighboring houses, no traffic except the vehicles entering the parking lot. The front doors were unlocked. That was the first strange thing. The second was the principal. Dennis Halpern sat behind his desk with both hands flat against the surface. He wore a tan suit, a striped tie, and an expression of intense concentration, like someone had positioned him there. Alicia introduced herself. He stared at her temporary badge. You're the teacher. That's what they tell me, Alicia said. Good. He continued staring. Alicia waited. After several seconds, she asked, Where's my classroom? Mr. Halpern's eyes moved toward the framed picture on his desk. A girl of approximately 10 smiled beside him. I believe it's upstairs. Which room? The teaching room. Marcus glanced at Alicia. Lena sat her box down. I need student medical records, medication authorizations, and the key to the nurse's office. Mr. Halpern's mouth tightened. You ask a lot of questions. It's my job, Lena said. No, your job is the nurse. The job is nursing, Lena corrected him. That's what I said. Alicia stepped in before Lena could answer. Could we get a tour? The principal relaxed immediately. Yes, I'm supposed to show you. He stood, checked the photograph again, and then led them into the hallway. He could not find the nurse's office. He did not know which classrooms were occupied. When Marcus asked about the boiler, Halpern told him to never enter the basement because basements were dangerous. Dangerous how? Marcus asked. You could get in trouble. With who? The principal. Marcus looked at Alicia. Alicia smiled pleasantly. Mr. Helper never noticed. The children began arriving 20 minutes late. None of the adults complained. A mother carried 2 backpacks, a lunch bag, a violin case, and a pink coat, while her daughter walked ahead carrying nothing. A boy crossed the parking lot with 2 fingers hooked through his father's belt loop. Each time the father moved too quickly, the boy pulled him back. One woman stopped beside the front steps when her son said, "Wait." He disappeared into the school. She remained outside, standing exactly where he had left her. "Are parents allowed inside?" Alicia asked. Mr. Halpern looked confused by the question. "They go where they're told." The children entered Alicia's classroom without greeting her. There were 12 of them, 9 to 11 years old. Clean clothing, polished shoes, perfect posture. They selected their desks without arguing. Then they sat quietly and studied her. Alicia wrote her name across the board. Mrs. Grant. She turned around. "Before anybody asks, yes, I'm new. No, I don't know where anything is. And judging by this morning, neither does your principal." No one laughed. Then a girl in the front row smiled. Alicia recognized her from the photograph on Halpern's desk. "What's your name?" "Clara." "Clara what?" "Clara's enough." Alicia leaned against the desk. "For now." That earned a few smiles. The children began asking questions. How old was she? Does she live alone? Does she have children? Was she married? Did she take medication? Has she ever had a broken bone? Who would come looking for her if she never returned home? Alicia raised one hand. "This sounds less like meeting your new teacher and more like buying a used car." This time they had laughed. Not loudly, but genuinely. The boy near the windows whispered, "She's quick." But Clara kept watching her. Quick things are harder to keep. The room fell silent. Alicia held Clara's gaze and then smiled. "Good thing nobody's trying to keep me." Clara smiled back. "Not yet." At lunch, Lena entered Alicia's classroom and closed the door behind her. "There aren't any medical files." "You mentioned that," Alicia said. "There aren't any supplies either, not real ones." She placed 3 objects on Alicia's desk. A roll of veterinary sutures, a child-sized leather restraint, a handsaw. "I found those in the examination cabinet." Alicia stopped smiling. Marcus appeared in the doorway. "You two need to see something." They followed him back to the entrance. The woman who had been told to wait was still outside. 3 hours had passed. The sun had moved across the building, taking the shade with it. The sweat soaked through her blouse. Her knees trembled. Alicia pushed the door open. "Ma'am?" The woman looked at her but did not move. "Are you all right?" Alicia asked. "My son told me to wait," the woman said. "You can wait inside," said Alicia. "He didn't say inside." Alicia walked toward her. The woman's breathing quickened. "Please don't." "I'm trying to help," said Alicia. "You'll make him angry," said the woman. Alicia stopped. Through the glass behind them, several children had gathered to watch. Clara stood at the center. The waiting woman saw them and began crying. Marcus swore beneath his breath. Lena moved toward the woman. The woman suddenly ran. She made it halfway across the parking lot before her son emerged from the school and screamed, "Mine!" Two police cruisers entered through the front gate so quickly they nearly collided. 4 officers jumped out. They looked like adults, but they moved like children released for recess. One cut across the grass. Another climbed directly over the hood of a parked car. They were laughing until the woman reached Marcus's truck. Marcus unlocked it. "Get in," he yelled. The woman grabbed the passenger door. An officer struck her behind the knee with a baton. She dropped hard enough for Alicia to hear the bone meet pavement. Marcus shoved the officer away. The others swarmed him. One drove a fist into his stomach. Another forced his face against the hood. The woman crawled beneath the truck, dragging one useless leg behind her. Her son approached slowly. She reached toward him. "Please." The boy crouched just beyond her fingertips. "You ran away." "I'm sorry. You embarrassed me." "I know," said the woman. One officer seized her ankle and pulled. Her fingernails tore against the pavement. Alicia stepped forward. Clara caught her wrist. The child's grip was surprisingly strong. "I wouldn't," she said. The officer dragged the woman into the open. The son considered her for several seconds. "Fix her leg," he said. "I still need her." The officers immediately stopped hurting her. One lifted her carefully. Another brushed gravel from her bleeding face. The change was instant. Violence one moment, tenderness the next. All because the child had spoken. Mr. Halpern finally emerged from the school. He looked at the injured woman, then at the police, then toward Clara. He appeared to be waiting for someone to tell him what a principal should do. Clara released Alicia's wrist. "Mr. Halpern," she said. The new custodian helped her run. The principal's expression was hardened. He marched toward Marcus with his fists clenched. Marcus was still pinned against the truck. "You're in very serious trouble," Halpern announced. "For opening a door?" Marcus said. "You helped someone take his adult." "That's a woman," Marcus said. The parking lot went silent. Every child looked at Marcus. Every adult looked down. The boy walked to his mother and placed one hand on her hair. "She knows what she is." His mother closed her eyes. He stroked her head gently. "Don't you?" The woman swallowed. "Yes." "What are you?" the boy said. Her lips trembled. "Yours." "Good," said the boy. He kissed the top of her head and the police carried her away. Alicia watched them load the woman into the back of the cruiser while her son climbed into the front. Beside her, Claire smiled. "You really are quick, Mrs. Grant." Alicia forced herself to look confused. "I don't know what you mean." For the first time that day, Clara looked uncertain, but only for a second. But Alicia saw it. And Clara saw that she'd seen it. The girl's smile returned. "We're going to have fun with you." And the police cruiser pulled away. Marcus remained face down against his truck. Lena stood frozen beside the school doors. And 12 children watched Alicia Grant pretend she still believed they were children. The police kept Marcus against the truck until the children lost interest. When the officers finally released him, his lip was split and one eye had swollen shut. Mr. Halpern straightened his tie. "You're suspended," the principal told him. "I'm the custodian," Marcus replied. "Then you're suspended from custodialing." Marcus stared at him. Alicia took Marcus by the arm before he could answer. "Thank the principal," she told him. Marcus turned toward her. "What?" "Thank him," Alicia repeated. Marcus saw something in her expression. His jaw tightened. "Thank you, Mr. Halpern," he said. The principal looked relieved. He had issued a punishment. Marcus had apologized. The scene made sense again. Lena examined Marcus inside the nurse's office. After checking his ribs twice, she removed her gloves. 2 are badly bruised, Lena told him. The 3rd may be fractured. You do need an x-ray. "I need my truck," said Marcus. "You're not driving anywhere." Marcus pulled his shirt down. "That woman tried waiting. Look what happened to her. I'm leaving before they decide I belong to somebody." Alicia checked the hallway before closing the door. "They expect you to run," she said. Marcus laughed once. "Do you hear yourself? They had 4 police officers here before that woman could reach your truck," Alicia reminded him. That stopped him. Lena opened the examination cabinet. "I think they're altering adults somehow," she said. Marcus looked toward her. "What?" "Drugs, surgery, conditioning. I don't know." Lena removed the roll of veterinary sutures and 1 leather restraint. "This isn't a school nurse's equipment. These sedatives are strong enough to stop a horse." Alicia thought of the woman standing in the sun for 3 hours because her son had told her to wait. "What about the principal?" Alicia asked. Lena glanced toward the hallway. "Maybe they already did it to him." Someone knocked. Before any of them answered, the door opened. Dr. Baines entered wearing a spotless white coat. Clara followed him inside. The doctor looked at Marcus's bruised ribs and smiled. "I heard somebody's misbehaved," Dr. Baines said. Marcus sat upright. "I'm fine." Dr. Baines removed the syringe from his bag and the liquid inside was cloudy. Lena caught his wrist. "What the hell is that?" she demanded. "Medicine," the doctor answered. "What medicine?" asked Lena. "The kind that makes him hold still." Lena took the vial from his hand and read its label. "This is xylazine," she said. Dr. Baines frowned. "He's large." "He's not livestock," Lena told him. Clara leaned around the doctor. "Would it work on her?" the girl asked. Lena looked at Clara. "Excuse me?" "You keep interrupting the doctor," Clara replied. "Because he has no idea what he's doing," said Lena. Dr. Baines' face reddened. Not with professional anger, with humiliation. Clara watched him struggle for an answer. Then she turned her attention back toward Lena. "You know how bodies work?" Clara asked. "Yes," said Lena. "All the parts?" "That's generally accepted of a nurse," said Lena. Clara smiled. "Good." She took Dr. Baines by the hand and led him out of the room. The doctor followed without looking back. Lena locked the door behind them. Marcus slid off the examination table. "I'm not waiting," he said. Alicia moved between Marcus and the exit. "Give me a day." "For what?" "To figure out which adults are still adults." Marcus lasted 3 hours. At dismissal, Alicia saw his truck moving through the parking lot. The children were already gathered at the classroom windows, waiting. Marcus accelerated toward the open gate. A police cruiser pulled across it. He turned sharply and jumped the curb and drove through the flower garden. The children screamed with excitement. Not fear, excitement. A second cruiser struck the truck behind the rear wheel well. Marcus fought the steering wheel and kept moving. The first cruiser hit him head on. Metal folded. The truck spun sideways and crashed through a fence. Again shouted the boy beside the window. The cruiser reversed and rammed Marcus's door. Once. Twice. On the third impact, the door collapsed against him. Alicia ran from the classroom. Marcus kicked through the passenger window and dragged himself onto the grass. Blood covered one side of his face. He made it 6 steps before an officer tackled him. Another planted his boot between his shoulders. The boy from Alicia's class followed her outside, and he stood nearby, spinning a pencil between his fingers. "Can I have that one?" the boy asked. The officer looked down at Marcus. "He's damaged." "I don't care," said the boy. "He'll need correcting," the officer warned him. The boy stopped spinning the pencil. "I said I don't care." The officer lowered his eyes. "Yes, sir." Marcus turned his head toward Alicia. "Don't let them." The officer kicked him behind the car. Marcus went still. The children applauded. Marcus returned Friday morning. He was wearing a police uniform. His swollen eye had been drained. A shaved strip ran behind his right ear and disappeared beneath his collar. Fresh staples glittered against his skin. The boy who had asked for him was absent. Marcus stood inside Alicia's classroom, spinning a black baton through his fingers, exactly as the boy had spun his pencil. "Morning, Miss Grant," Marcus said. His voice sounded the same. The rhythm didn't. Alicia smiled. "New job?" "I got promoted," Marcus answered. "Well, congratulations." Marcus grinned proudly and pushed Lena without apologizing. Lena waited until he had left the classroom. "They operated on him," she whispered. "Keep your voice down," Alicia warned her. "He has spinal sutures. He shouldn't be standing." "Lena, that isn't Marcus." Several children began listening. Alicia deliberately raised her voice. "Of course it's Marcus. He's wearing a name tag. It says Marcus." All of the children laughed. Lena stared at her. Alicia held Lena's gaze, silently begging her to understand. "Pretend. Just pretend." Lena couldn't. "I'm calling the state medical board," she announced. She turned toward the office. Clara was standing behind her. Dr. Baines was at the end of the hallway. Marcus stood beside him, resting one hand on his new holster. Clara looked at Alicia. "Your nurse is causing problems," the girl said. Every instinct told Alicia to pull Lena back into the classroom. Instead, Alicia shrugged. "She's been argumentative." The betrayal struck Lena immediately. Then Lena saw Alicia's expression. She understood. Too late. Marcus seized both of Alina's arms. Dr. Baines pushed a folded cloth over her mouth. Lena kicked the doctor hard enough to crack his knee against the wall. Dr. Baines screamed. Clara laughed. Marcus dragged Lena toward the stairwell. Alicia waited 5 seconds before following. The basement door had been left unlocked. Lena's screams led Alicia through the boiler room and into the tiled corridor beneath the school. She found the operating room behind the window with reinforced wire. Lena lay face down beneath the surgical lights, leather straps across her wrists and ankles and throat. A long section of her hair had been shaved away. Dr. Baines had already cut behind her ear, in the first several inches of her spine. The doctor worked from a stack of numbered photographs. He wasn't operating. He was following instructions. Clara lay on the table beside Lena, awake, smiling. Both tables had been pushed beneath a steel apparatus hanging from the ceiling. Transparent tubing connected the openings at the bases of their skulls. Something pale moved inside the tube. Not liquid. Tissue. A narrow knot of nerves threaded with black veins pulled itself slowly from Clara's body. Clara shuddered. Lena screamed through the cloth in her mouth. The tissue reached the opening behind Lena's ear. Lena's entire body arced against the restraints. Dr. Baines consulted the next photograph, then pushed the tissue inside. Lena's scream stopped. Clara's small body collapsed. For several seconds, neither moved. Then Lena raised her head. She began laughing. Clara's laugh. Alicia stepped backwards and her heel struck the metal tray. The crash filled the corridor. Marcus appeared on the opposite end. He drew his pistol. Alicia ran. The first shot shattered the operating room window. The second one tore through her upper arm. Alicia slammed through the boiler room door, knocked open the steam valve, and filled the passage behind her with a white vapor. Marcus fired blindly. Bullets punched through pipes and concrete. Alicia reached the stairwell, locked the fire door where Marcus's abandoned custodian keys, and climbed. By the time she returned to her classroom, the blood had soaked through her sleeve. The children were sitting exactly where she had left them, watching the door. Alicia picked up the piece of chalk. "Sorry about that," she told the class. Nobody spoke. She turned toward the board and continued the lesson. The door opened up behind her. Lena entered. Her skin had been pulled together unevenly. Black stitches climbed from beneath her collar to the back of her head. Blood had soaked through the shoulders of her uniform. Her eyes found Alicia immediately. "You're bleeding, Mrs. Grant," Lena said. "Paper cutter," Alicia answered. "Paper cutter doesn't make bullet holes," said Lena. Alicia kept waiting. This school has some unusual supplies. Several children laughed. Lena didn't. She walked behind Alicia and pressed one finger into the wound. Alicia gripped the chalk until it snapped. Lena leaned close enough for Alicia to feel her breath. "Did you see anything downstairs?" she asked. Alicia looked into Lena's face. Then she glanced toward Clara's empty desk. She allowed herself exactly 1 second. No longer. "I saw a nurse who needs a better doctor," Alicia answered. Something inside Lena smiled. She turned toward the class. "Everyone remain seated," Lena instructed them. Then she locked the classroom door. The children remained seated. Alicia stood at the board with blood running down her arm. "Let's play a game," Lena announced. The voice belonged to the nurse. The excitement belonged to Clara. Lena walked between the desks and stopped beside Clara's empty chair. "Miss Grant is going to tell us what she saw downstairs." Alicia turned away from the board. Every child was watching her. She could continue pretending, or give them something more interesting to fight about. "I saw Clara take Lena," Alicia said. Several children gasped. Lena's smile disappeared. "You said you didn't see anything," she reminded Alicia. "I lied." The children began whispering. Alicia pointed toward the empty chair. "Clara already has an adult, but she told Dr. Baines she wants mine too." The lie landed exactly where Alicia intended. A boy in the front row stood. "She can't have two." "I don't want her body," Lena insisted. Alicia looked at the children. "She followed me here and she locked the door. You decide." The classroom erupted. Children shouted over one another. Someone accused Claire of cheating. Another demanded a vote. A boy climbed onto his desk and declared Lena's body should be confiscated until the matter was settled. Lena slammed both hands against the desk. "Sit down," she screamed. The children screamed back. Alicia grabbed the keys from Lena's pocket. She unlocked the classroom door and ran. Marcus was waiting in the hallway. He reached for his pistol. Alicia threw the fire extinguisher into his face. Marcus fired as he fell. The bullet passed through the classroom door. All the children scattered. Alicia ran down the stairs and vaulted the front desk and reached the parking lot. 2 police cruisers blocked the gate. Marcus's cruiser sat beside the entrance with the engine still running. Alicia climbed inside. She reversed through the glass doors as Marcus stumbled outside. He fired twice. 1 bullet shattered the rear window. The other struck the passenger seat. Alicia shifted into drive and accelerated. Her cruiser hit the gate hard enough to tear it from its hinges. Children poured from the school cheering as she escaped. Alicia called her brother while driving. Special Agent Malcolm Grant answered on the second ring. "Alicia," Malcolm asked. "What's wrong?" "Listen without interrupting," Alicia told him. She gave him the school's name. She described the children, the owned adults, and the surgery beneath the building. Marcus remained silent until she finished. "Where are you now?" he asked. "Driving west. There's an FBI field office on Cairo Street. Agents Price and Holloway work there. They're personal friends of mine." "I didn't know Bellwether had a field office. It's a small joint task force." 2 cruisers appeared behind Alicia, their lights activated. "Malcolm, they found me." "Go directly to the field office," her brother instructed. "Do not stop for local police." Alicia turned onto Cairo Street. The federal building stood between the courthouse and the post office. 2 men in dark suits were already waiting outside. One of them raised his badge. "Alicia Grant," the taller agent called. "That's me," said Alicia. "I'm Agent Price. That's Agent Holloway. Your brother sent us." The local cruiser stopped at the end of the street. They didn't approach the federal building. Agent Holloway opened the door. "You're safe now," he told her. For the first time since arriving at the school, Alicia believed someone. The agents brought her into an interview room. Agent Price locked the door while Agent Holloway examined the bullet wound in her arm. Neither man laughed. Neither became angry when she asked questions. They behaved like adults. Agent Holloway cleared the bullet wound properly and wrapped it with gauze. Agent Price placed Malcolm on speakerphone. "You're with my people now," Malcolm assured her. Alicia closed her eyes. She told him everything. She explained that Marcus and Lena had been taken. She describes the tissue moving through the surgical tube. She told them that the principal, the doctor, and the police were children inside stolen bodies. Neither of them interrupted. When Alicia finished, Agent Price leaned forward. "How much damage did Clara do?" he asked. Alicia opened her eyes. "To Lena?" Agent Price hesitated. "To the body." Alicia looked at Agent Holloway. His collar had shifted while he wrapped her arm. A thin white scar appeared behind his ear. She turned toward Agent Price. He had the same scar. Malcolm's voice came through the speaker. "Is Alicia intact?" Agent Holloway squeezed her injured arm. Alicia flinched. "The bullet passed through the muscle," Holloway reported. "Her spine is untouched." Alicia stared at the phone. "Malcolm?" Her brother sighed. You weren't supposed to see the surgery. Alicia remembered the case Malcolm had worked 6 years earlier. He had disappeared for 3 days. When he returned, he stopped visiting. Birthdays became phone calls. Christmas gifts became money transferred into her account. She had blamed the job. You sent me the posting, Alicia whispered. I knew you'd be useful, Malcolm replied. Alicia drove her forehead into Agent Holloway's nose. The cartilage broke. She seized the metal chair and swung it into Agent Price's knees. He collapsed. Alicia reached the door before Holloway caught her hair. She turned and stabbed her fingers into his damaged nose. He released her. Alicia unlocked the door and ran into the main office. Agent Price drew his pistol. Stop, he screamed. Alicia threw herself behind the desk as he fired. The bullet struck the computer monitor. She grabbed the brass nameplate and hurled it into his face. Holloway tackled her before she reached the lobby. Alicia bit through the flesh between his thumb and his finger. He screamed. She crawled toward the glass entrance. 10 feet. 5 feet. Her hand touched the door. Something struck her back. Alicia reached behind herself and pulled a tranquilizer dart from beneath her shoulder blade. Agent Price stood behind her holding a rifle. You're making this worse, he complained. Alicia tried to stand. Her legs folded. Malcolm spoke through the office speakerphone. Be careful with her. The floor rose against Alicia's face. Then everything disappeared. Alicia awoke in the operating room beneath the school. She had lay face down with her wrists and ankles and throat restrained. Dr. Baines stood beside her studying his numbered photographs. Lena watched from the corner. Fresh blood had dried around the black stitches in her neck. On the second table lay June Calder, the quietest student in Alicia's class. June smiled at her. I picked you before anyone else did. Alicia pulled against the restraints. Dr. Baines placed the blade behind her ear. You need to hold still, the doctor warned her. You don't know what you're doing, Alicia told him. Dr. Baines looked toward June, and June nodded. The doctor began cutting. Alicia screamed until her throat tore. The incision continued down her spine. She heard Dr. Baines drop instruments. He reopened places he already closed. Each time Alicia began losing consciousness, Lena injected something into her neck that brought her back. They wanted her awake. When the transplant tube connected Alicia to June, the girl reached across the space between the tables. June held Alicia's hand. This part feels strange, June warned her. Then something cold entered the opening behind Alicia's ear. Her fingers stopped belonging to her, then her arms, then her lungs. Alicia remained awake as June took each piece. The child inhaled through Alicia's nose, moved Alicia's tongue, opened Alicia's eyes. June sat upright inside her. Across the room, the child's abandoned body lay motionless. Dr. Baines removed the restraints. Alicia's body stood. She had not told it to. On Monday morning, Alicia Grant returned to her classroom. Black stitches climbed behind her ear. June's desk was empty. The remaining children watched as Alicia's body wrote her new name on the board. Mrs. Grant. Good morning, class, June said through Alicia's mouth. The children answered together. Good morning, Mrs. Grant. Alicia screamed from beyond her own eyes. June smiled. Clara had been right. Quick things were harder to keep, so they kept Alicia somewhere where she could never run, inside of herself. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. If you could like, share, subscribe, I would sincerely appreciate it. After all, it is free. Sleep tight, or don't, from dusk till dawn.